A woman from Winnipeg is angry and speaking out tonight. She says she's the latest victim in a Manitoba health policy that may have led to the deaths of two men last month. The woman, who was confined to a wheelchair, was discharged from hospital Monday. A cab was called for her and dropped her off in freezing temperatures. She says she's lucky she survived. Last month, two male patients discharged and taken home in cabs died in the cold weather before they got inside. Christina Stevens has our top story.
I was in shock and I started screaming and waving my arms.
Earlier this week, 68-year-old Donna Sherbin was left outside, fearing she'd freeze to death. Discharged from Winnipeg's Health Sciences Centre, she was sent home in a taxi. The cabbie dropped her off at the side of the road, but she couldn't get over the snow at the curb.
As cold as it was, I wouldn't have made it, even though I had a hat and mitts. I wouldn't have made it.
Fortunately, the driver saw her in the rearview mirror and did come back to help. Others with similar stories haven't been so lucky. Neighbors tried desperately, but to no avail, to save a man sent home from Winnipeg's Grace Hospital in a taxi December 29th. He didn't make it up the walk to his house. And 2 days later, another man, 78-year-old David Silver, was found dead on his porch. He too had been sent home from the same hospital in a cab. Both died from underlying health conditions, not the frigid cold. 68-year-old Heather Brennan died under similar circumstances 2 years ago. The Winnipeg Health Board says they'll work with local taxi drivers. The province is taking it one step further.
It will be mandatory that the taxi cab driver ensure that the person make it to the front door safely. It's common sense.
To put the responsibility on the taxi cab driver, I believe, is a shortcoming.
The Canadian Taxi Cab Association says unless the hospital makes a special request, curb-to-curb service is standard. Drivers don't know if they're picking up a patient, visitor, or even staff. They aren't medical experts and don't know the medical condition of a passenger.
If the passenger has special needs, absolutely, we can accommodate to meet those special needs, but we need to know.
And the issue is bigger than being left outside after the ride. In October, a 90-year-old blind woman was sent home from Delta Hospital in BC by taxi in the middle of the night, bleeding with just pajamas and a sheet.
I said, well, I have no clothes. And they said, that's all right, we've ordered a taxi for you.
The seniors organization CARP is sending a letter to all of Canada's health ministers calling for changes to protocol to make sure this kind of thing doesn't happen anymore.
Susan Eng says it's up to the hospitals, not taxi drivers, to make sure the person is well enough to leave in a cab and to take action, like calling ahead to family.
This is idiotic. You know, we're a first world country. People shouldn't be left on the sidewalk after having been discharged from a major city hospital and left to die.
Sherbin is just thankful she's okay.
It was terribly scary.
She says no patient should have to go through what she did. Christina, StevensGlobal News, Toronto.